That night, one of the strongest men in Mecca walked out with a sword.
The atmosphere in Mecca was heavy with anticipation. Everyone felt the shift, the coming change that would redefine their history. Whispers spread through Mecca like wildfire. Fear and uncertainty gripped the community as old traditions clashed with the new message. In the year 616, Mecca was a city oblivious to the monumental changes approaching. We must understand the atmosphere of Mecca in 616. There was a palpable tension.
The historical record shows that even in the darkest hours, the divine light never truly abandoned the city of Mecca.
Few dared to challenge Umar ibn Al-Khattab. His dominance in Mecca was absolute, a testament to his fearless nature.
As Umar approached, the crowds would instinctively step aside. His presence alone commanded silence, and
In these days, there was a shadow in Mecca that few dared to challenge. Umar ibn Al-Khattab was a man of 16 Mecca. Umar's authority was unmatched. His strength was rooted in Even before his conversion, Umar possessed an imposing presence. The streets themselves seemed to fall. It was the environment of pre-Islamic Arabia, marked by immense hardship and strict discipline. His mindset was rigid, characterized by an unshakable belief that he was defending the truth.
Umar saw himself not as an oppressor but as a guardian. He was enforcing the Quraysh order, believing it protected society from slipping into chaos.
Before Islam, Umar enforced discipline with an iron fist. He believed
Hearts are set in stone. But history shows us that even the firmest hearts can be moved. In the early days of Islam, the believers lived in constant fear. They had to practice their faith in secret, away from the eyes of those who wished them harm.
Faced with persecution in Mecca, the early Muslims met discreetly. These secret assemblies were the lifeblood of the nascent faith. Hence, the persecution was severe. It is said that Umar himself, before accepting Islam, was among the most angry. The stories of their resilience teach us that faith is not merely a word, but a fortitude that allows the heart. The impact was profound, scattering dust across the land. Yet,
The suffering inflicted upon the early Muslims in Mecca intensified day by day, reaching a cruel limit that tested their faith.
Imagine the weight of that moment. To abandon the city you love, the place of your birth.
They left their homeland silently, a heartbreaking migration for their faith. Their only trace.
It was during the migration that we see the first sign of Umar's unexpected mercy, a softening of his famously stern heart.
This crack symbolizes the change beginning in his heart. Truly, Allah guides hearts in unseen ways.
Umar heard a voice reciting the sacred verses, a sound that resonated deep within his soul. Recitation, Taha, we have not sent down the Quran upon you that you should toil. The true battle was not fought on the sands of Mecca, but within Umar's very soul. A profound struggle between, and even the strongest armor of certainty can be pierced by the light of divine guidance, slowly illuminating the path to truth within the heart.
Something profound had shifted within him. The heart, once hardened, was now stirred by the truth he encountered.
The leaders of Mecca gathered in Darun Nadwa with a desperate plan. They decided to offer him a bribe. He knew the path ahead was fraught with danger. Yet, Umar stepped forward, resolute in his belief. The gravity of his decision cannot be overstated. Consumed by rage, Umar ibn Al-Khattab took his sword. He prepared himself not just physically, but spiritually, understanding that this mission demanded the ultimate sacrifice. What may have seemed like a simple choice of paths was, in truth, the quiet commencement of a deed. As tensions mounted in Mecca, Umar was abruptly halted on the road by Nu'aym. The news he carried would change everything. Umar was on his way to confront the Prophet when he received the news. His own sister, Fatima. Driven by intense anger, Umar changed course. His rage, initially aimed at the Muslims of Mecca, now turned.
And so Umar approached his sister's home, filled with a violent rage that was about to burst forth upon this very door.
He stood at the threshold of revelation, unaware that his heart was about to be opened to the truth he once sought to destroy. Driven by his fierce opposition to the new faith, Umar burst into the house, his heart filled with suspicion and rage.
The confrontation revealed the intense nature of Umar's personality.
Get out of my sight now!
This was the sight that stopped him. The spilled blood shocked him to his core, piercing his heart with the weight of his actions.
The story of Umar's sister exemplifies this courage. Even as she was struck, her voice did not waver.
Umar's intense anger suddenly collapsed. The pride he felt melted away, leaving only silence and a deep sense of shame.
Umar's rage was fierce, but true change began not with fire, but with the cool waters of reflection and profound stillness. It was at this moment that Umar encountered the words. He approached them with a deep sense of reverence and caution. The verses resonated deep within him. It was that Umar's heart, once hardened like stone, as his fist opened, Umar's heart opened too. He realized that true strength lies not in anger. With a decisive calm, Umar chose a new direction. He would seek the Messenger of Allah.
He set out toward Dar Arqam. This journey symbolized a critical turning point for the early Muslims.
Tense moments gripped the small band of Muslims. Outside, the formidable figure of Umar approached.
In the face of uncertainty, a voice of quiet courage spoke up, paving the way for Umar ibn Al-Khattab to enter.
This moment defines the spirit of the conquest. It was not a victory of the sword. The city waited, unaware that in this moment, Umar held the words that would change everything. The gravity of this moment cannot be understated. Umar was about to speak the words that would not only transform his life.
The strength that once resisted now surrendered completely. Umar bowed, accepting the truth with a heart finally at peace.
And then the believers sensed it. A powerful change swept through Mecca. Before Islam, Umar was strong, fierce, but his conversion channeled that power. And with this pivotal moment, Islam gained its powerful defender. It was a turning point in history. With fearless resolve, Umar stepped into the open. He would no longer conceal his belief, declaring the truth for all of Mecca to hear.
Fear could no longer rule their hearts. A spirit of courage swept through the community, and the doors long closed began to open.
When Umar accepted the faith, his strength was no longer just his own. He stood firm.
The scales of power in Mecca were reset. Umar's acceptance of the faith signaled a historic shift.
With Umar's conversion, the tide turned. The power dynamic in Mecca shifted irrevocably. They had lived in fear, practicing their faith in secret. But courage replaced fear. And fear had forced them into the shadows. But through unity and faith, they emerged, walking boldly in the light. This alliance represented true strength on the right side. Umar and Hamza walking together signaled a monument. The city watched in silence. This unexpected show of strength left the leaders in absolute shock. And with this moment, Islam stood tall and confident, forever changing the course of history.
The streets of Mecca began to breathe differently, a new tranquility emerging. Hearts stood taller as the believers found strength and dignity in their unity. Their confidence was renewed by their unwavering faith.
The leaders of Quraysh began to sense their control slipping away. And it was at this moment that Umar stood firm, becoming an unshakable pillar, supporting the foundation of Islam against the winds of opposition. This was the moment Islam truly began to shape a future, a horizon free from fear, guided by moral courage. talents. With this acceptance, Umar took upon himself the immense weight of leadership, a transition symbolized in the teachings of early Islam. Justice is not merely a legal concept, but a moral imperative. Moral vigilance was the cornerstone of his rule. Umar carried the immense burden of his responsibility for the people. Umar demonstrated that true power lies not in unrestrained force, but in strength tempered by faith and self-control. Thus, Umar established a legacy of moral clarity, demonstrating for all time how truth, even today, the echoes of Umar's leadership remind us that true power lies in service. Justice was the cornerstone of Umar's rule. His unwavering commitment to fairness. In power must always be balanced by compassion. This was the legacy of Umar, who cared deeply for the weak. The safety and peace that spread across the land during this era was a direct result of Umar's just and moral governance. His example remains a beacon of justice and sincere faith, proving that moral courage is humanity's greatest lesson. Indeed, guidance is a light Allah places in the heart. It is the transition from every darkness into profound light. The choice made by Umar that day echoed through centuries, shaping not just laws, but the very moral fabric of generations that followed. When hardship strikes, we find our strength not in isolation, but in the unity of our community. The enduring lesson of Umar is this: true governance, guided by Islamic scholarship, must always point to a legacy of compassion and wisdom passed down through the ages. This is the story that never truly ends. Indeed, Umar's story is not just history. It is a timeless guide to justice, leadership. As Umar taught us, true strength is found not in aggression, but in accountability and disciplined responsibility towards others. Even the strongest bow before truth. Umar, the powerful leader, understood that humility before God. True leadership, as demonstrated by Umar ibn Al-Khattab, is rooted in rigorous self-accountability before judging others. Every generation faces the same choice: justice or ego. And though the challenges change, Umar redefined leadership by understanding that true power is not found in the sword, but in justice. Umar ibn Al-Khattab understood that leadership meant constant self-reflection and accountability, not just to the people, but before Allah. True strength is not found in authority, but in profound humility. Umar exemplified this. Indeed, justice is a universal value central to Islamic moral teaching. It is the standard by which we must measure our humanity. Umar established a standard for justice that transcends time and culture. It is a universal lesson we must embrace today. And so, Umar's transformation was complete. From the depths of anger, he rose. His example teaches us that true leadership is defined by justice and compassion. Remember this: truth and justice are eternal. They never fade away.